And I usually just finishing as I go. And I always go ahead and put some varnish on the foot in the recess right now. Let that set for a couple minutes. Take a break. Okey-doke. Now we take it off the lathe and reverse it. That little homemade chuck key. Loosen up the chuck. See, and those jaws fit right in that recess there and grip it. And see how true it's going to spin. Looks pretty good. Snug it up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, it's going to grip real nice. Still looks good. All right. Now I'll bring the tool rest up. Get it pretty close to the rim there. Okay. I finished turning the inside. Get a good shot of what it looks like there. Start out here at the top of the rim. Finish it. Keep my eyeball here. See where the looking here. Little pencil marks. See where I gotta take some out. I can see that when it's spinning now. edge right, starting about right there. Yeah. One last little finish cut. Looking here. Yeah. See if the walls are pretty even. Pretty close. Good enough. Good. Usually what I do, I stand there with my eyes closed and just feel it, and that way you can feel any real ridges or thick spots. It's pretty good. Now we're going to sand the inside, power sand, like we did the outside, but I use these 2-inch Velcro hook and loop. See, the pad is the hook, and the back of it's got fabric on there, and it sticks right on there. And we start out with, what, 80 grit, that might be 60, and work our way up to the 220. Now I made these little pads that spin on and off this mandrel. That way I don't have to take the disc off for each grit. I just put a new pad on, because those things cost 50 cents a piece. Get your, oh, in the way. Here we go. Now it gets pretty hairy sanding out there on the edge because there's no wood out there. So you're not pressing very hard, just kind of skating across the surface. You kind of learn to get a feel for where the pad is. And we do the initial grit. And we put on some naphtha, especially right there on the end grain. See if there's any imperfections. Take those off so I can see. And I usually take this with some 80 grit garnet that I glue on a pad. Garnet seems to work well on end grain. I really don't know why. It just seems to do a good job. And without the lathe movement, just kind of get those little places there, because the end grain tends to get a little tear out on it, little fuzzy spots. Needs a little more attention. There's usually a little mark or a bruise right in there, right where that line goes. You usually get one there. Gotta do both sides. And you want to keep the pad moving, otherwise it'll heat up the wood, you might get a crack. Wipe it again. See how it looks. Looking good. And then we go back to the spinning. With a little bigger diameter pad to help level things out. Especially down there in the bottom. Right in there is a trouble spot. And we move on to the next grit. to the next, which I think is 100 grit. And we got 120. Easy. Should have had these on. Then we put some naphtha on. Let's see how it looks. Make sure we did a good job. Yeah. Feels all nice and smooth. Then we do a little hand sanding with the starting with the 220 and up to the 600. Let's get a nice polish to it here. More. Put some fresh grit on there. And finally the 600. See, that's getting a little, really bringing out the polish there. Now, last little step, I take this little brush, dip in some naphtha, and brush off where the rim is, because there's always usually a little bit of the sealer left over on that. Sometimes I'll take a wire brush if it's stubborn. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just a little more on the outside here. Okay. Now we'll just clean it up. Take a rag with some clean naphtha. Yeah, look at that. Make sure those grooves are clean. And there we go. Ready to put some oil on it. Okay. And we're going to put an oil finish on here. It's oil I mix up myself. It's a varnish oil. Just like you buy in a store, but I mix it up myself with linseed oil, polyurethane varnish, and turpentine. And just brush that on. Kind of flood it on, let it soak in. Especially on the end grain. Yeah, it really brings out the grain and the color of the wood there. I love the smell of turpentine. Yeah. Then let that set for a little while. Then take a rag and wipe off the excess. And then sometimes I'll put another coat on. Usually I'll put another coat on after it sets for a day or two. And then after the oil cures, which usually takes about a week, I'll put it back on the lathe and put some paste wax on and buff out the paste wax. Gives it a little more shine, helps protect it from fingerprints. And that's pretty much, that's it. Yeah, a little more right there. You can see